Okay, let's look at some infinitive verbs with modal verbs. Okay, so remember infinitive verbs are like the head verb, the main name of a verb family. So this is the to be family. Lots of different verbs, but they are all to be verbs. They're all different types of the verb to be. The same with to have verb. There's different types of verbs in the to have verb family, but to have is our infinitive verb, and do is our infinitive verb for all the verbs that have to do with do, different forms of do. Let's look at these modal verbs. So modal verbs are great, I think, because I think they're easy to use because you don't have to worry when you use modal verbs. You don't have to worry about all these blue verbs. All you need to do is remember what the infinitive verb is. Okay, so it doesn't matter if, for example, if you say for number one, if your subject is I, then you have a modal verb, will. The verb that comes after a modal verb will always be an infinitive verb. So it might be, or it might be have, or it might be do. So, for example, one, the subject is I, the modal verb is will, and so the next verb afterwards will be the infinitive. So which one suits best? I will be busy from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. tonight? Or can you say I will have busy from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. tonight? Of course, have does not make sense because we have an adjective afterwards. And if we have an adjective afterwards, we are describing the subject. So when we want to describe the subject, we need the verb to be. So we're going to use the be infinitive. So this sentence will be, I will be busy from blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's look at number two. We might. Might is our modal verb. Okay, where's might here? Here it is. Might. That's our modal verb. Our subject is we. Then we have our modal verb. Then we get to choose. We can choose any infinitive verb, be, have, or do. Guess over for dinner tonight. So all we're doing is choosing which infinitive verb makes the most sense, which sounds best. So for number two, we might have. Have suits here. We might have guests, visitors, over for dinner tonight. So I think that's great because you don't have to worry if the subject is we or I or he. Our verb is always the infinitive, but only after these modal verbs here. Okay, so here's some more verbs. The to be family verb, the to have family verb family, to play family, to do family, to go family, and to give family. So each of these family groups or verb groups, they all have an infinitive verb at the top here. Okay, so when we want to describe the subject, with a helping verb or a modal verb, I'll say modal, will, can, could, should, we use the be verb, the be verb, the be infinitive verb. We can use other verbs with modal verbs to tell us about an action. So for example, will have, will play, will do. But you'll notice that each of these verbs is an infinitive verb because it comes after a modal verb. So here we have our modal verb, and play, which is our infinitive verb. Will do, this is our infinitive verb for do, and so on for all of these others. Okay, let's stop there. So let's just practice some of these. So again, we're just going to look at the to be verb, and we're going to use it with 3 modal verbs, will, can, and should. Alright, so because we have modal verbs and we want to describe our subject, so if we want to describe our subject, we're going to use the infinitive verb be. So let's think of a sentence for number 1. I will be tired tomorrow. Alright, so we've got our verb, our modal verb, and will, and we want to describe our subject, I. So that's why we need our verb to be. Then after that, we gave our description, tired. Tired is an adjective that describes our subject. Let's look at number 2. He is our subject. Can is our modal. Alright, we want to describe he. He can. So we can put be after that. He can be at TAFE at 10 o'clock. Okay, so afterwards we have a location. So this is using our modal can plus our verb to be, our infinitive verb to be, and we have a location afterwards. Okay, so we can also have an ing with our modal verb. We can do this by going, you should. Okay, we want an ing verb, so we have to have the verb to be. But we also have a modal verb, which means our verb to be has to be the infinitive, so we have to use be. You should be, what's the verb? An ing verb we could put. You should be trying to finish your homework. Or you should be trying to learn English today. Alright, So we've got our modal verb, should. We've got our verb to be, and it's the infinitive verb to be because we have our modal verb. And we can also have an ing verb afterwards because we have our to be verb. Okay, your turn now. Write 3 or 5 sentences and use a modal verb and a verb to be and see if you can create some sentences.